Hello everyone, this is the Willing Red Fox, and welcome to Fox Grove Reborn again. So as a recap of the last episode, we actually made this giant forest, we actually made the sawmill over there, with a little house for the sawmill owner, and we made those towers that you can actually see all the way through, and you can actually view each one of the towers from the top of each one, which is actually a nice little feature there. Overall, the build in the previous episode was quite simple. It was mainly placing the trees and getting these pathways in that took a long time, and then we got these nice little towers as well, which actually I feel suit this area quite well. I don't want the builds to be over extravagant. The reason for that is because I want this world to feel like it was already here. I don't want it to feel like it was something that I've built. And like if you were walking through this world, it just feels like normal Minecraft. Yeah, this forest is a bit dense and probably wouldn't be normal Minecraft, but when you actually see the buildings like the sawmill that's about to come up, it would feel like that this would be a normal place within vanilla Minecraft. No mods, just like you could stumble across this build, like just there in the wilderness. And I think this build style kind of lends to that quite well, given how most of the shaping of the buildings are quite simple, or just exaggerations of the original vanilla builds. Like these here, these were all built from the actual blueprints from the original buildings that you would find in a village, and then just built upon to make them a little bit nicer, a little bit more functional. For instance, this building, you can actually see the original church in the design of it, and you can see it's just been extended to have a roof on top, and that has had its palette changed. But overall, it still fits the sizing and scale that Minecraft had for the vanilla builds. Then of course you do have the more grander builds, like the actual ranch we have here. Now, yes, these are much bigger buildings, but no bigger than a woodland mansion, so they're actually within the scale of what Minecraft would originally have had for the builds that it has, if that makes more sense. I feel like I'm speaking a lot of words and it's just forming a sentence rather than having a clear idea. Don't get me wrong, I feel like builds that are more elaborate and go into a lot more detail using more palettes and using a lot more colour theory in the way that they present the box is really cool to see, and I do enjoy builds like that. But at the same time, if I'm building this world to be like a big project and would be usable so that you could actually run around this world, I would prefer the builds to be a lot simpler. Yes, it's nice to have a massive build that's incredible that you could walk around. If the world of Minecraft feels like it's lived in a bit more, I feel like that's more important. So yeah, these builds can be literally made by anyone. And I think that's what makes it incredible, because you can actually just do this. You don't have to go mine for hours getting copper to get copper roofs and then weather them so that you get the different shades. You can literally just go play Minecraft pretty much generically and build this entire world pretty easy. So I think all in all, it just makes the world believable. Like this could actually be a Minecraft vanilla world where you've just spawned in and this is how the world was. The only thing that doesn't sit right, it kind of looks a bit weird and you think, oh well, yeah, it's clearly built by someone, is actually one block you wouldn't think of. And that would be the rooted dirt, like this, given the fact that it only spawns with azalea trees. Kind of doesn't fit the purpose really, but it actually just blends in so much you wouldn't really notice it when you're walking around. So yeah, it's weird to think that this world in its entirety is pretty much something you could easily do with just a couple of hours work. But then also, the rooted dirt is probably the most expensive block to actually build this. That's wild. That's enough of that. We need to actually start working on this section. We're going to continue down this path, given that this is still part of the forest and quite near what we're already doing. So I feel like if we get this all worked out, we can start building today. Now, as you can tell, the terrain's going to need a lot of work. It's quite jagged. It's not as smooth or clear as what we've done previously. So let's get that work done, put some trees, put a path in, and then we can pretty much decide what we're going to do for a build. But before that, it's probably worth looking around here, because I actually haven't looked this far out before. I think I've came up to a bit round about this end here. I've never really gone any further. And it's a good thing I did, because I did not know that there were snowy mountains out here. There's a nice little valley going through here as well. That could be something interesting in the future. Why is it so laggy? What we could do, we could work up until the snow points, and then we can decide what we'll do for the future that way. But we need all of this terrain sorting. So I'm going to jump into a world painter, get that sorted, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I've smoothed out the terrain a bit, and I really like how it's looking. There are some weird parts like this bit here, but there is some dents in places, so I feel like I might go over them, raise them up, smooth them out a bit. And then yeah, I feel like we can start working on today's project. I do feel like there's going to be two separate projects. One's going to be next episode and one's going to be this one. So we'll see how that works out, and these trees need removing. So that's going to be fun. But yeah, let's see what we can do. I've not gone anywhere near the snow mountain, so it kind of cuts off around about here. So we'll have to keep that in mind for the future. But let's smooth out some more bits, and then we can start working on paths. Okay, so we're done with the paths now. I've actually gone through, mapped them all out, worked out the terrain, and cleared the grass off them. So that took a few hours, but we've got that done now. What I'm going to do next, though, is I'm going to actually work out where these towers are going to go. I still think that's a great idea, being able to see each one as you go through, while also being able to use them to see the area around so you can see what new things are about. Hopefully, once we've worked out where those towers are going to go, I can then start on what we're actually going to be building today, because we're going to build it in this area here, I think, and we'll see how that looks. But first, let's crack on and see what we can do about those towers. Okay, so we've got the towers in and we've got the forest in as well. The forest is looking quite good, and we've got this nice blank space over here. Now, the reason why I put a blank space over here is because I'm actually going to be building today's build here. Now, I'm going to be building an abandoned ruined, as said in the title. Took me a while to get to this point, but I'm here now. Now, I think having the abandoned town around here would be quite nice, and just having it, like, sort of kind of off to the side of these towers, because I feel like this should be like the going edge of the towers, and this will be like the main area for this kingdom almost. And then at some point over this way, I'm gonna have to start building a nicer like city. I think I'm gonna be doing that somewhere that direction. I feel like there's a lot more land that way. But yeah, having a nice little kingdom around would be nice, and then having this as like a forgotten city, maybe like an ancient battlefield went on there, and that's why it's all abandoned now. But yeah, that kind of aspect to it kind of will work nice here, and then we're going to fill in the rest of the trees. So I think I'm going to go into a time lapse, build that up here, and then yeah, go from there. Okay, so we've got the first lot in, and we've actually got the layout how I would like it. Now I need to come in and actually put some details on here and see how that works, and then maybe change the terrain. We'll see how that looks once I've actually got the detail in. So just to talk about the design a bit, I started off with this little fountain because normally most villages will have some sort of fountain in the middle, that or a well. This is mainly a well. And I forgot to infill it at some point, but I actually filled it with cobble later on. And then the houses, I thought, given that most houses kind of a Victorian style that this is kind of based off of, they tend to have had stone at the bottom and then wood on top. So I want this to be kind of illustrated as being an important village, not one that has recently came about in time of peace, but one that was actually needed to be fortified. Hence the stone for wall rather than the wood for walls in previous builds I've done on this channel. Another way that you could do this is actually build this in full and then just tear holes through the middle. That way you can actually gain the shape a little bit easier, but I thought to save time I may as well do it in one, and I can kind of just estimate where the lines would be. This is nowhere near finished, so let's get the remainder part done, because now we're going to have to put some details, because yeah, having everything as blocks isn't going to be nice, so putting some half slabs in while also putting in some actual stone blocks would look great. Okay, so now that time lapse over, and I've now gone and put all the trees in, you can actually see that this is quite well hidden. Yeah, this path is quite clearly here, but if you weren't really thinking it was a path and you were walking through trees, then yeah, it kind of works. But then when you come down towards here and you've got the clearing, you can actually quite clearly see the ruins. And it actually looks really nice, and I think this turned out pretty good. Now, I was going to put some stone bricks throughout here, but I couldn't figure out a way to make it look nice. I feel like with just the cobblestone it kind of works. Maybe putting a couple moss cobblestone would make this look better, just to make it look that old and timely sort of thing. Maybe I could do that just before we finish up. Yeah, let's run around and do that. Let's see how that would look. Okay, yeah, so adding the mossy cobblestone to the bottom did work quite well, and it actually looks real nice now. But yeah, this is pretty much it. We've now got a whole new section to this area, and this forest became huge now. Just to show you how big this world has actually got in just a couple videos, this is the furthest point south, I believe, that we've gone. And if we just follow this path, and I'm flying at full speed, so let's see how long it takes us to get there. And as you can see, these are all trees that we placed and then grew. And as you can tell, we've just came up onto the sawmill now, so that's not bad. And you got the fisherman village down there and the ranch just off to the right. Then if you keep following a path this way, we actually come up to the furthest tower we built in the last episode. And this is everything we built in today's episode. As you can see, this goes all the way out this way. And there's what we've just built there, the actual part for the abandoned village. And then this is the furthest we go north, with the tower over here. So this is actually quite big now. And it's not even the end, because we've actually gone all of this way as well. So we got two paths. We got one that comes up that way, and then we got another that goes this way. And it covers all the way over here. Now this is the furthest tower to the east, I want to say. But yeah, this is where we're up to now. Next episode though, we're going to be working out on these areas, because I've got a plan for this part, which I think should work quite well. But we'll have to see how it works out. But for now, that's the end of the episode. So if you liked it, do comment, like, and subscribe. And if there's something in this world you want to see, then please do let me know. I'm more than happy to see what I can get added into here. And if you do like the video, I'll see you in the next one.